How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Another video coming at you today. Now, if you're watching it, today is Monday, January 8th, and that means it is the national championship for college football. One of the best days of the year, behind Super Bowl Sunday and Game 7 of the World Series, the best days of the year. If you are watching, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below who you have winning the championship game today, because the day this goes up is the day of the game. So basically what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the two semifinal games, go over some of the stats, what I liked, what I didn't like, some surprises. I was shocked. You know, the games were pretty good. You know, if you watched them, you were in for a treat. If you didn't, I'm sorry you didn't watch them. That's really unfortunate. So basically I'm just going to go through the two games, read some stats, tell you guys what's going on, give you my prediction for tonight, and then in the comments below let me know what your prediction is for tonight. So first off, we have, of course, the Rose Bowl. The best college football game I've ever watched in my life. The Georgia Bulldogs brought it out and ended up winning 54-48 over the Oklahoma Sooners. It was the highest scoring Rose Bowl game in the history of the Rose Bowl. And that record was broken last year when USC played Penn State. And then they broke it again this year. So it was pretty insane. Georgia going on to the national championship. They are 13-1. Oklahoma ends up 12-2. Incredible season by Baker Mayfield. I'm just going to go over his stats real quick. He was 23 for 35, 287 yards. He averaged 8.2 yards a throw, 2 touchdowns and interception. Now, Baker Mayfield had a really great first half, but you need more than just Baker Mayfield to win a game. That's really what we ended up seeing was that Baker and the Oklahoma offense was really good in the first half, but then the Georgia defense just locked them down the whole second half. Another big name in the Oklahoma offense was Rodney Anderson. He had 26 carries. He ran for 201 yards, 7.7 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns. He had a 45-yarder as well. Insane game from him, insane game from Baker. Unfortunately, their second half just wasn't good. It really wasn't. Then you go into Georgia, you have Jake Fromm, played an outstanding game. 20 for 29, 210 yards, 7.2 yards a throw, 2 touchdowns. Great game by him. Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel both had over 100 yards. I'll go over Sonny Michel first. 11 carries, 181 yards, 16.5 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns, and a 75-yard run, which was one of his touchdowns. Then you have Nick Chubb, of course, one of the best players going into this season. 14 carries, 145 yards, 10.4 yards attempt, 2 touchdowns, and a 50-yard run as well. You know, just when it comes down to it, an outstanding game from the Georgia rushing game. Jake Fromm was on point. There was 5, 6, 7 touchdowns by Georgia. It is insane. I mean, they played such a great game. In the end, they brought it out. They played really well, and they ended up winning. It went to double overtime. Of course, it was a thriller of a game. You know, the beginning of the overtime, you had a touchdown from Georgia, and then the turnovers from Oklahoma that really killed them. It was awful. There was a fumble on both sides for Georgia, and then Baker Mayfield threw that costly interception. It's just awful for Oklahoma. I feel really bad. Baker Mayfield again had an outstanding year. It was a great year, won the Heisman. Just couldn't pull it out. Just could not pull it out. And then, of course, you had the most anticipated game. You had the number 4 Alabama Crimson side going up against the number 1 Clemson Tigers, and it ended up being the most boring game of the two. The Alabama Crimson Tide rolled over the Tigers 24-6, and they are heading on to play the Georgia Bulldogs tonight. I mean, just from the start, it was really a blowout from Alabama. They scored 10 in the first quarter. They held Clemson to 3 in the first half, and in the third quarter, Alabama scored 14 more. I mean, you limited Clemson to 2 field goals. They did not score a touchdown once, which is huge. They were one of the best offenses in college football, and you held them to 2 field goals. I mean, Alabama's defense came to play. They came to play. And Jalen Hurts had a really great day, 16 for 24, 5 yards a throw, 2 touchdowns. Great day for him. Kelly Bryant really struggled. He threw 18 for 36, 124 yards, 3.4 yards throw, and 2 interceptions. He didn't throw for any touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. Really, really lackluster day by far for Clemson. They did not play good at all. They started to come back, and the momentum was starting to go in their favor at the end of the first half. No, excuse me, in the third quarter. The momentum was really starting to come back, and then you had an interception from Kelly Bryant that then led to a touchdown for Alabama. Then Clemson gets the ball back, and they throw a pick 6. It's 14 points right there. That pretty much sealed the deal. At the time, they were up 24-6. Game's basically over from there. That was a complete momentum shift. Alabama that was it. It was 10-6 before that happened. The game was still in reach for Clemson. They were starting to drive. Their defense was stopping, and then couldn't pull it out, unfortunately. And that's just how football is. Sometimes teams get really good breaks. Sometimes teams get really bad breaks. And in this game, it just happened that Alabama had some really good breaks, and Clemson had some very costly breaks. So now we're going to the game. Game tonight. My prediction. I have Georgia winning. I don't have a score because I've only watched these 2 teams a few times, so I can't really gauge. I think Jake Fromm's going to have a really great game. I think it is going to be a showdown with the 2 quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Jake Fromm. I think it's going to be a great game. I think in the end, Georgia's really good defense will hold up against the Crimson Tide and stop the Crimson Tide, because Jalen Hurts had a good game, threw for 2 touchdowns, but the rushing game wasn't really there. I mean, you had Damian Harris run for 7 yards, which is very respectable. Don't get me wrong. That is respectable, but you didn't have anyone running over 100 yards. And then Jalen Hurts didn't have one really receiver he went to. He went to a bunch of different receivers, which is also really good for a quarterback. I think if they can lock down Jalen Hurts and make sure the run game doesn't get going, I think Georgia should probably have an easy time. That's not to say that the Alabama defense isn't good either. I think Alabama's defense is really going to have to stop Jake Fromm. They're going to have to prevent him from scrambling. They're going to have to keep him in the pocket, and they're going to have to attack him and attack him and attack him and really put pressure on him. And if that happens, maybe a different story for Alabama. They may actually have the advantage here. But I'm going to go with Georgia. I think Georgia's going to end up winning. It's going to be a great game, though. It's going to be such a good game. It is on ESPN, of course. Watch it tonight. It is on tonight. And that's all I got to tell you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for another video. Again, comment down below your predictions for the game tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.